Just had a rough life. Seriously, like my dad murdered my mom when I was 2 years old. That's why I was in foster care. Um, and I just feel like I was really tried my entire life. I just want to be perfectly clear that something that traumatic is going to affect you forever. So there's no way around it. Um, the best thing to do is to face it head on.
Welcome back to a new episode of the Let's Move Up podcast. Man, I'm so excited. Man, I can't contain my excitement right now. Man, this brother I got here today, man, it's been a minute, but we got a special guest. Welcome, Jerron. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
Man, I definitely can't complain. It's a beautiful day, or it was a beautiful day. It's dark now, but I mean, like I said, it can't complain when I'm above ground.
I know that's right.
So, man, let's kick this off. Tell the people who you are, what you do currently. Talk about maybe your family a little bit. Just kind of let the people know who you are.
Okay. I'm Jerron Cheeks. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a real estate agent, licensed, fairly new, brand new career for me. Um, had a rough childhood growing up. I know we've talked about this, Cliff, years ago. Um, Grew up in foster care, bounced around from school to school, home to home. I was adopted at one point. Um, just had a rough life. Seriously, like my dad murdered my mom when I was 2 years old. That's why I was in foster care. Um, and I just feel like I was really tried my entire life.
Yeah.
I just felt like uh, God really like wanted to see how much I can handle. At least it felt that way for me.
Yeah. Man, this is just the beginning, and you already, oh, geez, like you talk about going through some things. So, a real estate agent, license. I like how you specified license because some of y'all out there trying to be a lot of stuff, but you ain't got your paperwork right. You ain't official. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
but man, I definitely like when you talk about just where you came from, because like right now, I mean, you look like a sharp individual. Like you look like you
I
got your
appreciate
stuff
that.
together. Like, and again, I've been seeing your stuff on Facebook. Like I said, again, congratulations on the real estate joint.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
that's big. That's big time for real. And it's like people see you now, they see who you are, what you've become. But again, you just kind of let us in slightly into, where you came from. And so, man, you talk about, man, you talked about the situation with your parents.
Hmm.
How has that affected you? How did that affect you growing up?
Well, first of all, it still affects me today, and
Okay.
that's just me being 100% honest.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to sit here and portray to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And I've come a long way, and I'm proud of who I am, and at the level I've made it in life. But at the same time, I just want to be perfectly clear that something that traumatic is gonna affect you forever.
Come on.
So there's no way around it. Um, the best thing to do is to face it head on,
Yeah.
and talk about it, be open about it, um, and share it with people so that if they're dealing with similar situations, as far as not having your parents in your life, then that can really help someone,
Yeah.
and but for the long for the longest time, I really felt lost in life.
Mm.
I really felt like I didn't have a purpose. I felt uh, confused, abandoned. Um, and a lot of times I had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew that, but I mean, when you don't really have nowhere to go, you don't really have anybody to talk to, and you're just living with random people your entire life, um, who did, I mean, some people did good, and then others made my situation worse. They added to the fire. So um, I'm just really blessed to have made it this far,
Yeah.
and I'm still shocked myself. Like I
Yeah.
still wake up every day, even just driving to work, like I break down in tears because I just can't believe like that I did it. I'm
Yeah.
finally here. My hard work paid off, even with the limited resources that I do have.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's, man, bro, you got a powerful story. Like, and I knew you, I met you back when we worked together,
Hmm.
them years back, but like, and I didn't even know all this about you. And it's crazy because you just never know the story behind the individual.
Hmm.
And I think, sometimes we as people, we're quick to judge people, or we're quick to just, again, try to read someone the way that we think we see an individual, but again, we don't know their story, and we don't know what they've gone through to get to the point that they're at. Like, have
Yeah.
you, through your life, have you had individuals that kind of maybe looked down on you, and really didn't know your story, really didn't know the fullness of, what you've gone through, but yet just because of their perception, um, they had a negative thoughts about you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of a natural instinct of us for us to look at someone and judge. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And everybody has a story. Everybody has a struggle, and the older I get, the more I realize that, and the more that I do my best to not judge people. Like I want to give everybody a fair chance, because you just never know what's going on in that mind of theirs, and what they had to go through. So the best thing I try to do is be kind. I try to talk to people that not everybody seems that interested in talking to, because I know how that feels. I know how it feels to be that guy who just doesn't feel a part of the crowd, who doesn't feel like he belongs, who doesn't fit in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just try to be the person that I wish would have been around for me when I was growing up, or even as an adult. This isn't all just struggles that I dealt with as a child. I'm 32 right now. I'll be 33 in February. So, you know, what, 14 years of adulthood. So um it's a struggle, but
Yeah.
I just take it a day at a time.
Day at a time. And that's, man, that's really all you can do. Let's I want to go back a little bit. And so when you were growing up, what type of things did you get involved with? Like, were you as far as, like, let's talk about school. Like, I know you say you grew up in foster care. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about like middle school and high school. What was that like?
I was a troublesome child. So um I had an IEP in school. I used to have to ride the short bus to school because I had behavior issues, and that was my way of seeking attention. Um, the attention that I never got naturally.
Yeah.
Um, so it just forced me to look for it elsewhere, and the only thing I knew how to do was misbehave. So in school, it got better over time. As I got older, I got more mature. I got interested into football. I played football in middle school and 1 year of high school, my senior year. And um, school was very different for me. I've been to 13 different schools,
Oh, wow.
to say the least. Um, I've been to all white schools. I've been to all black schools. You know, I've seen it all. I've seen all the different cultures, and I've had to learn how to adapt. And honestly, that's kind of helped me as an adult, putting me in those tight situations. You know, now I know how to conduct myself. I know
Yeah.
when I get around a certain group of people, you know, how to make them feel comfortable enough to open up to me or trust me or just converse with me.
Yeah.
So uh that was a con, you know, as a child being in that situation, but I learned from that, and it
Yeah.
helps me today.
Yeah. See,
Um
I think that's huge, real quick, not to cut you off, but man, I think that's huge what you just said, because you mentioned, something that as a kid was kind of like used as a con, but now it's almost like a gift and that you can
yes.
use now. And I think that's a lot of things um, that can be used with a lot of different things that we've gone through as kids. Like a lot of times we learn certain things that, people that talked a lot as a kid, used to get in trouble for talking, but then not realizing that as an adult's like they can, change the world with what they speak and
Hmm.
really use that as a gift. And so I think that's huge, learning how to adapt, like learning how to adapt to your environment.
Yes,
I think that's
sir.
where a lot of people are missing it, because they today's generation, like, everybody want to keep it 100, like everybody want to keep it real, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna do me, like they all that. And I understand it, like that's cool and that's cute and
yeah,
everything, but being you in the workplace, like sometimes
yeah,
it's not the best thing for you or your career, and you wondering
yeah.
why you can't get ahead nowhere is because you trying to be you, and
Hmm.
it's not the right environment. And so you got to
Yeah,
learn how to adapt, like adapt to every environment. Like I said, I ain't saying you got to be fake or anything like that. But again, sometimes you have to learn how to adapt for the environment. And okay, which version do I need to be in this setting? Like, and I think
yes, sir.
that's critical. Like, and that's that ability to self-assess. Like, and I talked about it, I think, on the other episode with my brother, but the ability to self-assess, like you have to
Hmm.
understand who you are. And then once you really understand who you are, you got to understand the different settings that you find yourself in and understand, okay, how can I navigate these different settings? Because again, it's not the same. Like I said, and
Hmm.
like you pointed out, like you definitely have to learn to adapt in the different environments. So
I just feel like timing is everything. You
oh
know,
yeah.
like there's a time to be cool. There's a time to be professional. There is a time to be aggressive. You
Yeah.
know, there's a time to be kind. So
Yeah.
it's just really like being able to understand exactly what time is, you know, what time is it time
What
to do
time is
something.
it? That's it. That's it. There's a time for everything. Definitely. So, man, let's so as you got through high school, um what was your first job?
My first job, I was a car hop at Sonic when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
I was a freshman in high
Okay.
school.
Getting it in,
Yep.
huh?
Yeah. Well, I was dating an older girl and she was a CNA. Um, so she kind of made me want to grow up. She made me want to, you know, be like her. Like I want to work. I want to bring money home. Like, but I was still a child. Like I was in a foster home and I was in the middle of Kansas, in Clay Center, Kansas. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Clay Center. Yep. I know exactly. I've heard of it. I can't say I know exactly where it's at, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely there. So yeah, my first job was a car hop at Sonic, and I think I probably worked there about 6 months or so before I ended up quitting. Um, I think I ended up getting sent to another foster home uh, because of behavior. You, know, me misbehaving, not coming home on time, thinking I'm grown, got a girlfriend now. Like, yeah.
So what point did you see your life begin to change for the good and begin to make that transition to become the Jerron we see today?
Well, there was a lot of in between.
Yeah.
I know you were asking me about school, and I told you that I've been to 13 different schools, and that's just what I can remember. I'm sure there's more, but I never graduated high school. I Again, I had a girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was looking for the love that a mother would give someone. I was looking for that in girlfriends. So when I was a senior in high school, I was dating this girl, and I was so like just caught up with her that I just stopped focusing on school. I stopped focusing on football. And I remember, you know, getting sent away to another foster home, almost 18 years old. This is my second semester of my senior year. And I was really disappointed, and I wanted to blame my foster dad at the time for that. But now that I look back, I know that it was me, it was me not doing right. He couldn't put up with it. There's only so much somebody can take. And but for the longest, I blamed my foster dad. It's easy to put the blame on someone else. Just like I've always wanted to blame my dad. You murdered my mom. So anything I do in life, that's going to be my excuse as to why I did it. But long story short, I ended up going to prison. Okay. This is uncomfortable for me to talk about as a professional now, but they're aware of it. They gave me a chance. I was perfectly honest. I paid my dues to society. So it's important for me to talk about it because there's a story behind it. And I actually met my dad for the first time in my life in prison.
Wow.
And this is the person that took my mom, So I was never prepared for that day. I never, for one, I never thought that I was going to get myself in enough trouble to go to prison, for one. For two, because I've always just been so focused on the fact that I'm an orphan, I have nowhere to go. I've just been trying to pick up the pieces from that. I never prepared for that day. But it came. And out of all the prisons in Kansas, my dad was, at the end of his term. And the facility that I was at was a minimum custody, or what's the word? Minimum security. It was a minimum security facility. And that's actually how I met you. I eventually ended up going to, work release. And then that's how I got the job, still serving time. And then that's how I met you, was working at McDonald's, but the story behind it is I never prepared to meet my dad either. Like, I had so much anger built up for him that he felt dead to me. Just the fact that he was never there. I knew he killed my mom. I knew that the way he did it was like really tragic, and I didn't find out the details about any of that until I went to prison. No caseworker, no foster parent. Nobody explained the details to me. I had to go to prison to go into the law library and pull up his case on the computer. And that's how I was able to get the details of exactly what happened. And I was 20 years old. That's when I got the truth. Was at 20. And mind me, my wife's writing a book about all of this. She already has written it. We just haven't published it.
Okay.
But just the way that everything is, it's kind of like a movie. Everything is so interesting. It's unbelievable almost, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, and but either way, I met my dad in prison. I always thought that I was gonna want to fight him, out of anger for what he did to my mom. But when you go to jail or you go to prison, you start to reflect on who you want to be in life, and you start to think about doing better for yourself. You start
Yeah.
getting closer to God. You start
Yeah.
reading the Bible. You start realizing that there's more to life than what you were doing, or more to life than what you were thinking.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at in my life at the time. And I've been known as a fighter, like a fist fighter. I've gotten to dozens of fist fights. I'm dealing with chronic back pain today because of all of them fist fights, plus football. But my dad actually heard from the inmates coming in and out of the prison about me fighting. He
Mm.
heard that your son, he's a fighter. He got hands, like so. He automatically assumed, like, if he was to ever run across me, that I was going to try to fight him.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was going through the time in my life where I was getting closer to God, which I'm still doing that today. I'm
Yeah.
still doing everything I can to get closer to God. And I'm not as close as I need to be, but I'm working on it, you know? Um, but I basically approached the situation like I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to hear his side of the story, um, and give him a fair chance. Like
Yeah.
we talked about earlier, everybody has a struggle. Everybody has their side of the story. Everybody has their term of events.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to hear him out. And the end conclusion was with that was he never could admit to it, and
Mm.
I never anticipated that. I never prepared myself for that. I always just thought, like, okay, you did it, you did all this, you served all this time.
Yeah.
There's no way that you're gonna deny it. But that was the case. And it was hard for me to swallow that pill because I couldn't find any closure.
Mm.
Like, I wanted to hear an apology. I didn't want to
Yeah.
hear a denial.
Yeah.
And that took some time to get over. And he ended up getting released. I ended up getting released. And I'm gonna go back to your question, which was when did I reach the turning point? It's coming up. Okay.
Oh, you good. You good.
I'm sorry, I'm taking it everywhere. I just wanted
Oh
to
no,
give
I
you
appreciate it. No, it's
some
it's it's
details.
definitely good because yeah, like I said, your story is powerful and like people need to hear this. Like again, a lot of times people don't understand the story of individuals and the thing that what you're just explaining, like your story is so powerful, like all the different elements. And you talk about just the whole abandonment and then confronting, like coming face to face with your father and
Hmm.
understanding that that he killed your mom, and you're looking for that closure and you're looking for that truth, and you're hoping, okay, you guys are both here, and it's like you might as well like
Yeah,
just
get
say
it
it,
over
like
with.
get it over
Yeah,
with. Exactly. And it's like, but yet you don't even get that, like, and that's the
no,
crazy
sir.
thing, like you don't get that closure that you need. So yeah, I think, like I said, your story is powerful. So yeah, don't apologize. I'm just listening, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. So I guess back to the story. We both got released, and I met my wife. Um, let's see, how long was I out before I met her? Just a couple of months. Now I served 3 years behind bars for selling drugs, and an altercation with the police that escalated. And once I got released, I had a plan, that I was never going to go back to selling drugs. I
That's good.
absolutely was against it. You know, I didn't want to backtrack. I didn't want to end up in the same predicament, even though I knew that it appeared as if it was one of the only ways I could make money, you know,
Yeah.
serious money. Of
Yeah.
course, I can go get a job and make $10, $15 an hour, but realistically, is that enough to provide?
Mm.
You know? And, but long story short, I invited my dad to my wife to my wedding. You know, me and my wife got married pretty quickly, and we're 9 years in. We'll be celebrating 10 years next year.
Wow.
But I
Congratulations.
invited, thank you. I invited my dad to my wedding, even though he was in complete denial for murdering my mom, even though that the evidence was clear, you know. And they all knew he did it for the simple fact that he had been abusing my mom for years. It was on
Hmm.
record, you know. Social workers knew about it. They seen the bruises. They've taken the kids before, like, so it was an ongoing thing. It wasn't just like he just got mad one day and did that. No, like this was something that was going on for years, and she just was so in love with him that she wasn't strong enough to leave him, you
Mm.
know? And that's what cost her her life.
Man.
So, um, six kids, six kids together. They were married too,
Mm.
you know? But with the wedding situation, I felt like it was right of me to try to forgive him and show him that I forgive him by including him in my life. You know,
Wow.
I wasn't trying to hold a grudge. I wasn't trying to be angry anymore. Like I've been angry for so long. Like I was just tired of being angry. Like I just wanted the love. I wanted to spread love. I wanted even to the one who made my life
Wow.
a nightmare.
So, and that's,
He
I
didn't
think
show
that's,
up, by the way, Cliff. He didn't come.
oh,
He didn't come to the wedding. So when I got married,
man.
I had planned on getting married in a courthouse because
Yeah.
I was completely broke. I didn't have any money. I had just got out of prison like less than a year ago, you know,
Hmm.
and I met this girl and I just knew she was the one. Like I knew it. I knew it. Like I knew I didn't have the money to take care of her. I knew I didn't have the money to pay for the wedding, but I wasn't going to let that be the reason why the woman of my dreams slipped through the cracks,
Yeah.
you know? So I got married quick. Like we only dated for 8 months and we were married. So, but my whole point was to get it done quickly and as cheap as possible. And that was the courthouse.
Yeah.
But I had been going to church at the time, and the pastor offered to have my wedding in a church and he would do it free, you know?
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, wow, like well, now we get a real church wedding. And next thing I know, like I'm looking for best men, and my wife's looking for groomsmen, and you know, or bridesmaids and all
Yeah.
that. And I got my groomsmen picked out, and next thing I know, like my best man offered as a gift for my wedding to purchase me a suit. Okay,
Mm.
I didn't even have enough money for a suit, and he was
Come
like,
on.
"Nah, this is the least I can do for you." Right?
Man.
So I went from like planning. This is how God works, right here.
Come on.
Like
Come on.
I went from a simple courthouse wedding just to get it done because I
Yeah.
knew this was the one, and God blessed me with a real church ceremony. Okay, like a
Mm.
real wedding, and He provided everything. Like literally everything that I was worried about. Like, wow, I was just trying to get a church wedding, and now I'm worried about trying to get a brand new tux, and I'm thinking about like, well, where's the limousine and where's the honeymoon? And
Man. You said,
God,
you said thinking about it, like, and that's, scripture came to my head, now to him who was able, to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think. And you just explain that literally, like beyond what you can think, beyond like what you like, just beyond. And that's what God did for you. Like you said,
Oh
that
yeah.
you was just talking about the courthouse, but God
Mm-hmm.
said, no, I got other plans for you. And people don't
Mm-hmm.
realize, like, that's, that's how God operates a lot of times. It's like you might have your thoughts on what you think, but again, God, a lot of times he's been known to blow people's minds.
Oh
I'll say
yeah.
that.
We
And
are
I mean,
not in control.
come on, man, that's awesome. And
We are
it's
not.
just, and the fact that the fact that your dad and the situation with him in prison, and you didn't get the closure you were looking for, but yet after you got out of prison, and the fact that you sent like the whole invitation, the whole you wanting to forgive, like, man, that's huge. Like, like do you think the reason you wanted to forgive, like the reason you had that in you to do it, was because of the relationship you had been building with God?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's no way I could have made that type of decision on my own.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and at the time I really didn't even know what I was doing. I was just doing what I felt like I should be doing.
Mm,
You know, it was never something that I had planned.
yeah.
It was just something that I knew at the time, like this is what he would want me to do.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't easy.
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't easy, especially not getting the closure, but I was just like desperately just trying to move on. You
Yeah.
know, like I want to move on from this. I'm tired of crying about it. I'm tired of allowing it to control my moods. I'm tired of dwelling over it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of using it as an excuse to be a shitty person,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, but he didn't come to the wedding. Um, he didn't really give me an explanation as to why. And that really hurt me. That
Yeah.
that one that one hurt me kind of more than anything else. Like
Yeah.
because here I am trying to make amends for something I didn't even do. And I don't think he really knows the type of impact his choices made on my life
Mm,
still to this day. And he's an intelligent man. Like he's really smart. He has one of the greatest vocabularies that I've ever seen or heard. But I'm sure a lot of that has to do with being incarcerated for so long. But he obviously can't be too smart if he doesn't want to support his son getting married and wanting to be better in life. And the fact that I'm forgiving him for what he caused, uh, it was tough. And so because of that, I decided I don't really want him a part of my life
mhm.
because there was no responsibility from
Yeah.
the get-go. Um, and then once I tried to invite him in and give him the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
or at the very least forgive him and move on, you
Yeah.
know, he still avoided me. He still kept me at a distance and didn't really give me an explanation. So I felt like over time it was just like, okay, this is not somebody that I should want a part of my life,
Yeah.
because why would you want somebody like that a part of your life if they can't even own up to what they did, knowing that it affected you more than
Yeah.
anything else in your life, knowing that it's probably affecting you today?
Yeah.
You know, motherly love, like taking
Yeah.
that from somebody, like that's probably one of the worst things you can do, because
Mm.
who's gonna love you more than your mama?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know
Man.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who and why? You know,
Yeah.
why would they? That's not your mama. Like, so I don't know. I have no hatred in my heart.
Yeah.
I forgive him. And he's got to know that by now, just based upon the opportunities I've given him as far as sitting down having conversations with him. Or even when I was in prison, like we played basketball, we worked out together, we lift weights, we played little games, and you know, uh, I just know that I can't have him in my life. Like I
Yeah.
just until he shows me with his actions, not his words,
Yeah.
that 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 he's at least apologetic to the point where he'll do his best to show me that he's truly sorry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Then I gotta move on. I got bigger fish to fry. And I can't dwell. I don't have time to dwell. I don't have time to try to get people to be a part of my life or a part of my circle. Like I'm gonna give everybody one chance. And
Yeah.
if you choose to not gravitate towards me, I'm not gonna force it.
Yeah.
I gotta spend my time and energy on leveling up,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's huge because so many times, there are people that as we grow up, we come in contact with a lot of different people. We have friends one day, no longer friends the next. So many different
Mm-hmm.
family members. But as we get older, and especially when we begin to have our own families, like you get to a point where you realize, like, man, I need to take care of me in the home front.
Straight
And
up.
when
That
you
part.
talk about like individuals like that, when you try to make that attempt but you don't see it reciprocated, like it
That
causes
part.
you not to want to continue. Like it's just like, well,
Yeah.
you made the attempt, and like you said, you don't have no hard feelings, like you don't have no hate in your heart, but you don't have time to try to pull somebody along. And it's like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
like, I gave you the invitation, like, but I'm not gonna sit here and continue to try to, you know like you said, you got bigger fish to fry. Like you got things that
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. You got people that are, really depending on you. And so you
Yes,
don't have
sir.
time to really go out and try to, like I said, pull these other individuals. Like you said, you open the opportunity, like, hey, we moving up. Like if you trying to move up, let's go. Like,
Let's go. Let's move up
let's
together.
go. But if you ain't trying to do nothing, I'm not finna, man.
I
I
can't
feel
let you
you.
hold me back or bring me down.
Exactly.
And I can't
Exactly.
dwell. I just can't dwell anymore. I'm done dwelling. It's too time consuming.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
that's wasted energy.
Exactly. Man, I don't even know what to say right now. Bro, this is good. This is so good. Oh man. And I know we were talking about that point when everything began to shift. And so when you got out, so after the wedding,
Hmm.
and the wedding took place, and like you said, God came through and blessed you, and
Yes,
it was a great wedding,
abundantly.
abundantly. You had a honeymoon.
I didn't have a honeymoon,
Okay. Okay.
but I was just thankful for the wedding,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
because I was
So,
not expecting that
yeah.
at all.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a surprise.
Yeah. So, after the wedding, and you're talking about, so you got married and you had been out of prison how long?
Um, a year.
About a year. Okay. And so, after you
Yep.
got married, as far as working wise, what did you do after that point?
I worked like warehouse jobs. Um, Let me see. This is some time ago. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was working at a warehouse. That's actually how I met my wife.
Okay.
Uh, One of the homies told me that he was trying to get a job, and his sister had just got a job at this warehouse, and she was about to put him on. So I was like, I want a job,
Yeah.
and so he was like, yeah, just come with me. We'll apply together, and you can ride with me.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I got a ride to work, I got a job, things are, turning up. And
Yeah.
the first day to work, my buddy's car was broke down. Like it wasn't operating. So our next our next way of trying to get to work was him calling his sister and asking her how was she getting to this new job. Come to
Yeah.
find out, she was car hopping with my wife, you
Mm.
know, soon to be wife.
Yeah.
And so next thing I know, we're all hopping in the car with her because we're all going to the same place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she's such a kind person that she was literally just picking up everybody to take them to work, you
Man, that's
know?
awesome.
So here I am in her back seat, headed to work, and I knew I liked her. Like I seen her on Facebook prior to this, and I
Yeah.
messaged her, and I probably said something lame like, "Hey, beautiful," or something lame like that, and she didn't respond or entertain it, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of shy because of that. It's like I knew that I had already, you know, shot my shot with her and missed.
And I was gonna
So
say she wasn't hearing nothing.
nothing. She wasn't going for it. Like,
Man.
and it's crazy that I just ended up in her back seat. You know, it was like that was God's way of like he
Oh yeah.
knew there was some chemistry there, and
Uh-huh.
somehow, some way, he put us in the same place at the same time. And uh honestly, me and her is what really made me want to grow up. What
Yeah.
really made me, even after prison, like I was still
Yeah.
struggling. I was still lost. I was still confused. I was still bitter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And even though I knew better, I wanted better, but it's a different thing when you're trying to actually be that person. It's like
Oh
you
yeah.
hear it, you know it's in your head, you know you're not thinking the way you should, you know you're not behaving the way you should. And honestly, like once she came into my life, I knew like this is the one. I don't want to mess this up.
Mm.
And there was a time where I had got in trouble with the law again, and I almost got in some serious trouble, Cliff. Like
Mm.
seriously. And God blessed me again. He
Man.
came through and literally like washed it all away. And I was so undeserving.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't believe it. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and he came through.
Mm.
So it was like, there's no other way this would have happened like this
Yeah.
had it been in in a human's hands.
Yeah.
Okay. This is above something that a human can do.
Yeah.
Okay. The proof is in the pudding. I was guilty as sin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And God gave me yet another chance.
Man.
And I felt at that time like I was losing. I wasn't married. Uh, Kind of what me getting into more trouble is kind of helped steer me into wanting to get married, because it was like, do I want to be a family man or do I want to be an inmate? You
Mm.
know, and not having that family structure my entire life, I fiend for it. I wanted
Yeah.
it. I just desperately wanted to be a part of something, you
Yeah.
know? And like I said, I should have been put away, lock the door, throw away the key.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't the case. The Lord freed me and gave me an opportunity. And so I married that girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got out, I married that girl, just like I told her I was going to do when I was in there, you know,
Mm.
and she probably thought that's just jail talk. He's just
Yeah.
talking because he's in jail. But I knew, like, let me get an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that happen. And when I got out, I did that. I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't have nothing. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a place to stay, but I went and got married.
Yeah.
Okay. And that changed everything. Like that made me want to provide. That made me want to do right, because I don't want to get, I don't want to lose my freedom and then then she's left out here by herself and she's counting on me, you know?
Yeah. So what you just explained is like you're talking about a why. Like you had a why, and you talking about the woman, your wife, like your wife being that why factor. And I think that's where a lot of people, like, they don't have a why for why they need to make that change. And like you said earlier, like mental, like a lot of times we know what we need to do. Like that's the thing about it. Like if you're listening right now, like if you're watching this, like you know what you need to do. Like the whole concept of this podcast is let's move up. And you know, we're talking about in whatever area you need to move up in, like finances, career, like relationships, mental, like all those different things. And so you know what you need to do. You have the knowledge, but it's the, okay, how do I take what I know and act on it
and
and apply it? And most of the time we don't, because again, we don't have anything strong enough to help us to make that change, to help us to walk that walk. Like we'll talk about it all day, but then when it comes time to put that action in, it's, you know, it's a totally different thing. But that why, and you said your wife was that why, like you need to have a why. Like if you really want to do something, like you need to attach a why to it. Why is it important that you do that? And like you said, you realize that you needed to provide. Like you realize number one, you realize that God gave you another opportunity. Like, and I think like that's number one, like realize the opportunity that you have, like take advantage of the opportunity in the opportunity, like, because you don't always get an opportunity. Like, hear me, like
those rarely come by.
Like, and the crazy thing about it, like people dying every day. So you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. Like, so every day you get up out of bed is an opportunity. Like,
yes, sir.
It's an opportunity. So you realize that God had blessed you in such a way that you said, okay, man, I don't want to be in this position again. Like, I don't want to waste the opportunity that God just opened the door, literally set me free about this. And I don't want to just turn back around and, you know, act crazy again. And then you said, okay, not only that, my wife, like you got married. And when you got married, you realized that as a husband, you wanted to provide, like, and I think it's big because the situation, you didn't have a structured family growing up. And so, like you said, you didn't have that vision of mom and dad and, you know, coming home to mom and dad and, you know, dinner time. Never. And, you know, you didn't have that vision. And so, but the crazy thing about it is, I think, and this is another thing about God, that he uses that pain to shape something in you. Like, and so nothing that you've gone through is wasted, because I realize, and like people that's listening, you need to realize that the pain that you've gone through, like God is going to use that. Like he recycles that pain. And so the pain that you went through, God used that to cause you to want to be what you did not see. And so because you didn't get that, because you didn't see that perfect family, because you didn't have that relationship with your father, it caused you something on the inside of you that said, I need to be the best husband I can be. I need to be the best father I can be. I need to be what I did not have. And you might not have had that thought. You might not have had that mental picture or that vision for yourself if you didn't go through what you went through.
Exactly. Man. Everything that I went through, it was supposed to happen that way. You know, that pain, that suffering, that miserability, it built character. You know, it, like a lot of people who do have moms, who do have dads in their lives, they're really dependent upon them. So that when the time comes where they actually lose their parent, you know, because we all pass away at some point, you know, and when they reach the point where they lose their parent, they're so dependent upon them that they don't even know what else to do.
Mm.
in life, you
Yeah.
know. But me not ever having parents, I'm not dependent upon anyone. I'm ready
Mm.
to face everything head on.
Come on.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just ready because I've been forced to face it since I was a
Yeah.
little bitty child. So
Yeah.
all those foreign environments, all those foreign situations, I'm facing them. Like, let's
Yeah.
go, let's do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You
He's,
know? So
he,
he definitely like what you were saying, like it definitely like there's pros to those cons.
yeah,
You know, there's a gift behind that.
exactly.
There's there's a lot that I feel like I have the advantage
Yeah. Come on.
against others. I feel like I have the advantage because you've been relying on your parents your whole
Come
life.
on. Come on.
And I've been out here by myself, you know, and that makes you a strong individual.
Come on. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really does, like stronger than most
Come,
because at least that's how I feel today. Like
yeah.
I really feel like I have the advantage. I feel like I have a lot to offer, even though if you know the facts, it might look differently than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think,
So,
and it's crazy because like God has a way of, he don't use the people that you think should be used. Like he don't use the people that, you know, are the most likely to succeed. Like, and I
mhm.
think a lot of times, like God doesn't take that avenue because he doesn't want it to seem like, well, of course this individual got to that position. Like, look how he was raised. Like he was basically, you know, he had everything given to him. And I mean, everything
Mhm.
was set up perfect for him. A lot of times it
Yeah.
don't happen that way. Like God likes to show exactly what he can do. And so he'll take
Mhm.
the worst of the worst, like those of us that's been through some
Yes.
crazy situations, and he'll
Mhm.
put us in positions that I was talking to a group before. I'm like you'll be put in positions that you don't deserve to be in. Like, and like you said,
That part.
you'll look around and just be like, how did I get here? Like, I ain't
Amen.
qualified for this. Like, I ain't, man, I don't have the degrees. Like, I'm not in the,
Mhm.
I see the people around me that are in the, you know, similar position, and they have all these different things. And it's like, I don't
Yeah.
have none of that. But what I have and what you have and what a lot of you other people have that are listening is like, you got a story, you got a struggle, you got some pain, and God is allowing you to use that pain to propel you and
Amen.
to use that pain to really take you to levels that you can go to on your own. Like, and the crazy thing about it is, like, when you get crushed, it's something about being crushed. And the crazy thing about being crushed, every time I think about just, you know, the olive oil and how, like, in the Bible, a lot of times the oil that came out of the olive was representative of like the Holy Spirit. And when they would anoint things, they would anoint things with the oil from the olive. And
Mhm.
the only way for that anointing to flow, and when you talk about the anointing, you're talking about like the appointment of God. Like you're talking about the hand of God on your life when you're anointed to do something. But the only way that oil could come out is that the olive had to be crushed.
Mm.
So without a crushing, there's no oil. And so many of you are wondering why, like, you're not having the effect that you think that you should be having. Like, you're wondering why the oil ain't flowing in your life, and it's because you ain't been crushed enough yet. And we got individuals like my man Jerron right now, like, this brother's been crushed. I'm talking crushed. And because of the crushing, you can feel the oil being poured out, like on this, just listening to this podcast, like you can feel the oil being just poured out because of the crushing that he's gone through. And like, I already know, like, this episode it's blessing me. So I know it's blessing y'all that's listening. I know it's blessing y'all that's watching. But like, there's so many more people that already know, like, your story is going to bless, because that oil, like, there's an anointing on that story. There's an anointing on your life. And that's the reason why God has you where you are today. That's the reason why God helped you get through your situations. That's the reason why God has done the things that he's done for you, because he has an anointing on your life. And through you, so many people are going to be blessed. Like, through you, so many people are going to be changed. Like, through you, so many people are going to be transformed. And like, and I wasn't even trying to go here, but like, I'm just letting the Lord have his way. But I just feel like God is going to do something with you, and he's already done some things with you, but like, you ain't seen nothing yet. Like, and that's all I can say. You ain't seen nothing, because God is really going to continue to elevate you, continue to like lift you up, because he's got some other people that are struggling. He's got some other people that are going through the same situations that you've been through. There's somebody else that didn't have a perfect family growing up. Like, there's somebody else that needs to hear that they can forgive even when the other person doesn't want to receive it. Like, man, God's got a plan for you. God's got a purpose for you. And again, like you said, he knows how to orchestrate it all. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. We
is his
think
world.
one thing, exactly. Like, we can have our plans, but one day you're going to look up and be like, well, I thought I was going to do this, but God kind of shifted some things around, and man, I ended up here. Man, awesome. Man. So let me ask you just a couple more questions.
You
so
can
one
ask
thing,
as many as you want, Cliff.
Man, I appreciate it. So as far as, if someone asked you, what is the best advice that you could give them to turn their life around, what would it be? And if they asked for 3 things, what would those 3 things be? What would you tell them?
First thing would be, is you need to have a relationship with God. That's number one, because humans, they're nowhere near as reliable as God.
Yeah.
You know, a human will turn their back on you. God is not going to do that. God's going to be right there at your lowest moment.
Yeah.
When you think nobody cares, he is going to show you he does. Some way, somehow. That's how he operates. And that's his way of showing you that no one has the abilities that he has.
Yeah.
You know, so number one, build your relationship with God. It needs to be consistent. It needs to be genuine. And you need to be humble and thankful for the things that you do have, the things that you quit worrying about and thinking about all the things that you don't have.
Yeah.
You know, all your shortcomings, all the things that happen to you in your life. Like, just focus on the small things, because that's a blessing. Somebody don't have that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's more so of highlighting the good. Stop focusing on the bad. That's just going to put you in a hole that you're not going to be able to crawl out of.
Yeah.
It's best to just focus on thinking positive, even if positive ain't happening. Even if it don't look like positive is going to happen. You got to think and speak and act positive into existence.
That's it.
Otherwise, it's not going to show up. Positivity isn't just going to show up. Like, you going to have to create it.
Exactly.
You know?
Man, come on, man. Before you move on, because you said something right there. Like, sometimes you got to create it. Like, that's huge, because majority of this world, like, there's negativity is just you're bombarded with negativity every single day. So if you rely off the world, if you rely off people, like most of the time when you go into the workplace, all you hear is negativity. Like 90% of people are like just talking negative, like they upset about this, they upset about like just negativity. So man,
so much controversy everywhere.
exactly. So yeah, like you said, man, you got to create it. Like you got to think it, you got to act it, even though it may not be a positive situation. You got to create it. Love that. Go
Because
ahead.
think about it though, Cliff. Like if you think it, you speak it, and you act it, what is gonna happen? It's not gonna have a choice.
Yep.
You didn't give it any other option.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
You didn't. You only focused on that, and over time, it's gonna manifest. Okay, so that's number one rule. At least my rule. You know, that's what helped me. You know, my relationship with God. And I'm not a big church goer.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make that clear. Like you can build a relationship with God without going to church every week.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need a big church group to approve of you.
Yeah.
You do need to be in a church at some point. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a part of being a part of the community.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I'm just speaking from my side of things. You know, I've never really felt too comfortable just going into a random church and just making it my home. So basically you work with what you got.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that church home, then there's no excuse for not opening up that Bible. Yeah, there's no excuse for not downloading that Bible app.
Yeah, come on.
You know, there's no excuse for why you're not thanking God every day, at the minimum, right before you eat.
Yeah, come on.
Because someone's not eating out here.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, they're starving, you know? So at the minimum, pray before you eat and don't just repeat the same prayer.
Yeah.
He needs to hear it come from your heart. You need to say some things you ain't said before. You know, you need to, that's how he's going to know. He's going to hear you.
Yeah.
You know, and
man, I love it.
Let's see. The next thing would be you need to find one person in your life that believes in you. Of course, you should at some point believe in yourself.
Yeah.
If you want anything to happen in your life, you have to first start with believing in yourself.
Yeah.
But that's a given. We should all know that at this point. But now you need to make sure that there is one person in your life that believes in you.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in yourself and you have one other person to believe in you, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
Yeah.
How? You believe it, she believes it, or he believes it. So what else do you need? That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I needed. Okay. That's all I needed was one person to believe in me, and that was my wife.
Man.
Before we got married, like she knew from the jump, she believed in me and I felt it, you know? And sometimes like we chase things that are hard to get instead of embracing the people that are already there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's already somebody in your life that believes in you, but you're just pushing them away because that ain't the person you want to believe in you.
Yeah,
but we don't get to pick and choose. Like,
come on. Yeah, people out here trying to chase attention and trying to chase that attention from someone that they want it from, and the whole time they got someone that's willing to give them what they need, willing to believe in them, like you said, and they're denying it, they're rejecting it, and it's like, nah, this you need a this is what you need right now, like this is your help. And it's crazy because again, God uses people in our lives. We don't get to choose who he uses. And that's the thing about it. Sometimes we want to pick and choose where our help comes from. And God is saying, no, this is the help I'm giving you. Like, I remember there's a story in the Bible, like where there was a famine and this prophet Elijah, like he wasn't eating, and God was like, well, there was a famine in the land. And he said, look, I'm going to feed you, but you need to go down to this specific place at this specific time. And I'm going to have this raven, this dirty bird, come, fly over, drop some food, some bread out his mouth. And that's your food right there. And he could have been like, I don't want nothing from no dirty bird. And God is like, this is what I'm using to provide you for you. This is what I'm using to bless you. And so many times, you know, people, you missing out on your blessing because you're looking at where it's coming from. Instead of
the fact that it's coming, that it's there.
Man.
Instead of the fact that it's there. Like
exactly. So yeah, that was big. That was big. Keep going.
Okay. So yeah, number one, your relationship with God. Number two, make sure that the person that is already there in your life that believes in you, that you embrace that person.
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't get to pick. You know, we take what we can get and then we build from that. And that's with anything. That's with anything. Whatever your financial situation is, whatever, how limited your family is there for you, like you take what you got and you make the best of it.
Yeah.
You know, and so the third thing I would say is, it's hard to put these into three. Okay. But I would say create a plan. Write it down.
I love it.
Write it down. And so you create the plan, then you create the goals that are going to assist you in accomplishing the plan.
Yeah.
The little bitty goals, they got to be written down. Yeah. You got to visually see them so that you can check them off. You know, you can't check them off unless it's written.
Yeah.
So you visually see your plan. Then you have your goals that you're going to implement into your daily activity. Yeah. You know, these are daily goals. Now you have this big plan, but now you know, okay, today I'm going to do this.
Yep.
Tomorrow I'm going to do that. And nothing's going to stop me from doing this.
Yes.
Not my health, because I deal with health problems. I haven't even went down that lane yet. Man. Okay. Facial paralysis. I can't even smile. Like my smile's crooked. I'm in a professional field where your face is like it's like your smile. Yeah. Come on, I'm a real estate agent. We all know that when you get online, you see a realtor, they got the biggest smile. Yeah. I can't provide that. I can't even provide that. And I'm still here. Yeah. Because I'm working with what I got and I'm making the best of it. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and dwell over what I don't have because others have it. I'm just going to figure out what else I can do in my life that would help me. How can I word this? It would help me. I guess I'm just taking a negative and I'm building something that is in my control and making it into a positive so people can focus on what I do have to offer instead of what I'm lacking at.
Exactly. You're not focused on where you lack, but you're building on your strengths. Like, I love it.
Yes, sir. And so, you do those three things. And that was hard for me to narrow that down, especially off the top of my head. But
you good.
I feel like those three are powerful, you know. And if you got that relationship with God, like he knows that you care, he knows that you respect, he knows that you're submitting. You got to understand, like, this is the Father, this is the Creator. You know, just as quickly as you got it, he can take it, and it's just as quickly as he can give it back.
Yep.
Like he's got that much power, and once he knows that you know, then things gonna start happening in your life that never happened because now he knows that you grew, you evolved,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not easy to do by any means, especially if you have so much pain in your heart. So many people
Mhm.
have done you wrong, you know, or you feel alone, or you feel misfortunate. You don't feel like you have what they have, or you don't get to do what they do.
Mhm.
But that just means, and God knows all that.
Yeah,
He knows all
exactly.
of that. So if he sees that you are still willing to submit, you still willing to respect, you still willing to honor, then he's gonna bless you abundantly.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Mm.
You're pretty much serving him at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what you're here to do. You're here to
Yeah.
serve God. You're here to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're here to do. We're here to spread the word, the love of
Yeah.
God. That's what we're here to do. And if you're not doing that, then I don't know if God's gonna be in your corner as much as he was somebody that is.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yes, sir. Man, that's I love it. I love it. Man, take those, man. If you didn't rewind this, if you missed it. But he said, have a relationship with God. And then he talked about believing in yourself and finding somebody else that believes in you. And more than likely, you probably already know that person. You might be, not treating them the way you should be treating them. And
hmm
then he said, make a plan. Like, so you can't just wish it's gonna happen, but you got to plan this thing out. Like you got to write it down. You got to have goals, and you have to have daily actions that you
Yes,
do.
sir.
Like you have to take daily actions. You can't be like, too many of y'all are sitting idle. Like too many of y'all are just letting life go by. Too many of y'all are just sitting down being entertained day after day
hmm
instead of going after the thing that you want, the thing
Yes.
that your plan, your goals. Like, man, man, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you, what's one thing that you want to be remembered for when it's all said and done, and people are talking about Jerron Cheeks years from now? What do you want them to be saying?
Um, that he didn't give up and he didn't give in. That part. Those
Yeah,
two lines. He didn't give up and he didn't give in.
he didn't give up and he didn't give in. Man, that's huge. That's big because, man, too many. It's easy. It's easy to give up. It's easy to give in. It's easy to throw in the towel when things
Yes.
get hard. It's easy to
hmm
quit. Like that's one of the easiest things to do. But what is hard is to keep going. It's hard to keep going. It's hard to continue day after day when you got issues, when you got struggles, when you got pain in your heart, when you know certain things are not fair or don't seem fair, when you know
hmm
that you've gone through certain situations, when it's like, man, I can't take no more. Like for real, like it's hard to keep going. But
Yes.
those that can and those that do keep going, there's a blessing. You just got to keep going. And so yeah, I love that. I love that. You kept going, you never quit, but you kept going. Like that's, man, that's, like I said, I love it.
That's, I
So
mean, that's how I just kind of live my life that way. Like, I'm hoping, if I can't share it verbally with somebody, that maybe they're sitting back watching.
mhm,
Because if you know me, then you know what
yeah,
I come from. You know where I've been.
yeah,
You watched me, you know, get to the point where I'm at now. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, literally. If this little
yeah,
orphan, you know, who didn't even have a place to stay, didn't even have nowhere to go, bounced around from house to house and never really felt, you just have that void. Like, what is
yeah,
what is going on? Like, everybody else is, you just see them vibing with their family. They so comfortable.
yeah,
But when you don't have that, you envious about it. You really are. You just like, why me? Like, why don't I get to enjoy that? You know, and going from that type of mentality to the mentality of, well, nothing can stop me.
Mm.
You know, like,
Say that. Yeah.
nothing can stop me. Only person that can stop me is me.
Yeah.
So, most of the time, we're our own worst enemy. My wife tells me that all the time because I set the standard so high, I drive myself crazy.
Mm.
And she tells me all the time, like, you're your own worst enemy. You know, there's nothing we can't do.
Yeah.
We got a plan and we got support from one person, just one. There's nothing that, and you got God, like,
yeah.
nothing can
who can be against us?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you're on the winning team at that
There we
point.
go. Yes, sir.
It's time to win championships.
That's it. Time to win championships. Man, you heard it here first. Man, look, we could definitely talk all night, but man, look, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I appreciate you sharing your story. Like, listen, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, like, I need you to write down whatever you got out of this. Like, comment whatever you got out of this. Like, because there was some good stuff shared here, and I need you to know and realize that, like, you have no excuse. Like, you have no excuse to remain where you're at. Like, when I say let's move up, I say that for a reason, because you're not supposed to stay where you're at. And hearing Jerron's story, like, he didn't stay where he was at. And when you talk about starting, like, you talk about starting from the bottom. I mean, my man started beneath the bottom, like, but he didn't stay where he was at. And you don't have to stay where you're at. Like, you can move up. You can move up and do the things that you want to do. Like, you don't have to remain at that same level. There is no excuses. And so, man, let's move up. Listen, I appreciate everything that he shared with us today. Jerron, thank you so much, my brother. Like,
Yes, sir. You're
your
welcome. No
story is so
problem.
powerful,
Anytime.
man. Oh man, I got to, man, we're gonna definitely have to talk some more, definitely link up. Like,
Yes, sir.
man, again, your story is powerful, and I know you're gonna change a lot of lives. Like, man, and I can't wait. You talked about, book, like, man, let me know when the book is done, because I'll definitely support it. Man, again, awesome story. So everybody else, listen, appreciate you checking in, appreciate you listening to the podcast, appreciate you watching. Make sure you check out the next one. And again, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Move up.